everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to read Mr. Wash by Hargreaves. Mr. Wash was the fastest thing on two legs. He used to wash higher and higher and higher and higher and back again all the time. And of course, he was always in such a rush and that he never ever finished anything properly. One morning he woke up with a jump. He'd only had time for 3 hours sleep because he'd been rushing about for so long the day before. Oh dear, he cried, leaping out of bed. I'm late. He rushed into the bathroom and washed not very well as he was in such a hurry, and cleaned one tooth and rushed downstairs, 3 at a time. Mr. Wash had a boiled egg and toast and a cup of tea for breakfast. He boiled the egg for 5 seconds and it tasted awful. He toasted the bread for 1 second and so it wasn't brown at all. And as he couldn't bear to wait for the kettle to boil, he made his tea with cold water. Ugh, what a horrible breakfast. And of course, he was in such a rush, he only ate half of it. Rush, 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 silly fellow. And after his half a breakfast, he rushed off. He rushed off again, out of his front door, leaving it open, down his garden path, and out of his garden gate, leaving it open too, and off down the lane. He passed Mr. Happy. Hello, called Mr. Happy. Good morning, Mr. Wash. Where are you off to? Can't stop, cried Mr. Wash. I'm in too much of a hurry. I can see that, thought Mr. Happy to himself as he watched Mr. Wash disappear into the distance. I wonder where he's going. Where Mr. Wash was going was nowhere. Fast, as usual. Mr. Wash rushed around all morning and then rushed home and had a quick bite to eat. A sandwich without any bread. And then rushed off again and rushed around all afternoon. That evening he was reading a magazine. He never had time to read a book when he saw an advertisement for a holiday. Ooh, he said, I'd like that. Haven't had a holiday for ages. But then his face fell. I can't go on holiday, he thought, because I don't have any money. Then he thought again, and his face rose. I know, he thought, I'll get a job. And so the following morning he rushed off and got a job with a farmer, milking cows. But of course he wasn't any good at that, because if there's one thing a cow can't stand, it's being rushed, especially when she's being milked. So Mr. Rush rushed off and got himself another job, driving a bus. But of course, he wasn't very good at that because he was always in such a rush. He never stopped at any of the bus stops. If there's one thing people waiting at a bus stop don't like, it's when the bus doesn't stop for them. So Mr. Rush rushed off and got himself another job as a waiter in a hotel. But of course, he wasn't very good at that because no sooner he had served people a meal and they'd taken one bite, he whisked the plate away from under their noses. If there's one thing hungry people can't stand, it's having food whisked away from them. Poor Mr. Rush, no job, no money. Oh dear, he sighed to himself. I'm never going to be able to go on holiday. He looked very glum and gloomy. And But then an idea struck him. An idea for a job who rushes around all the time. An ideal job for someone who has the fastest thing on two legs. Do you know what that job was? Would you like to know what the job was? Postman! Delivering express letters. Mr. Rush was so good at it. He delivered twice as many letters in half the time any postman had ever done it before. Soon he saved enough money for that holiday of his. And so the very next week, there was Mr. Rush sitting on a beach in the hot sunshine under a palm tree on holiday. This is the life, he grinned and rushed off for a swim. His 15th that day, and then it was breakfast time. Thank you for joining me reading the story.